late.
I just want to say hi to everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy.
Nancy.
Nancy, how sweet.
Yeah,
Nice to see you, everybody.
it's
How
so.
lovely. I like your hair. Just so lovely, darling. This is
Are you
so
talking to
beautiful.
me?
Did you curl it up, or that was it?
I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's not
lovely.
cold.
I like
It's not cold.
Janice hair. You see how lovely?
Janet
Anyway.
got a permanent in the
Oh,
sun.
is that
You
right?
did? You did?
Okay.
Oh my God, how amazing. That's wonderful.
Good.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really silly. But
I would like to have one.
You like
well,
to
you have to have a little more
I
hair.
always like the idea to
Not
be
a lot more, just a
very
little
cute.
more hair.
It's perfect. It's
nice.
absolutely perfect. I love it.
Yeah, it's really cute.
So anyway, everybody is wonderful.
Yeah.
Of course, as always, it's
Great.
not reason to ask a question. Lois, how nice to see you. Have perfect lighting in your face. Perfect. Darlene, I don't know. At first, I would like to thank you about everything about the site. That we're going to have a new site, and thank you for being so generous and helpful and everything. We don't know when it's going to be working, but this is it.
Does it have a name? Does it have a name? The new site have a name?
No, I don't think. I think it would be Unity.
It'll just be unityinmotion.com.
Yeah.
Probably the same, because I think all that's changing is the platform for it.
Yeah, we couldn't change it, but we could. If you have any suggestions, everything is a work in progress. And Unity in Motion is everything. I like the name more and more when time passes by.
Yeah.
I'm having a wonderful, wonderful time because I have been a little bit not detached or anything, but I have been working in the house because my assistant Steven is moving into the house as well. So I had to change many, many things because we needed to create a space, and I have gone through many papers and many, many things that I forgot that I have.
Oh.
And then every time that I look at it, I said, "Oh my God, here we are." I had a wonderful time in the dentist today. I was in the dentist having my clean teeth, and all of a sudden the person put me in the chair, and I was in the chair, and she went a little bit more back than usual. I said, "Oh my God!" She said, "It's too much back," and I said, "No, it's wonderful." And then all of a sudden I remember that maybe 35 years ago we decided design a chair called the Cloud. Remember?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
And it was a fantastic chair. It was a chair that had the perfect curves, like a zero gravity, and it was suspended in the perfect balance between front and back, and a horizontal balance in the body lying down. And then when you put the chair in, since it was electronic, it will take you all the way back to a point in which the energy will get to the head just before you start feeling that you have to grab because you're falling back. They will take you back again, frame by frame by frame, to the same place, and they will take you back all the way down to the perfect seated place, from which you will go back again and again. And the whole thing, it was fantastic because what it does, the gravity, you can feel what happened with gravity in every single point. And then once you open the body, you can feel inside of the body how everything is adjusting to a perfect state of relaxation, because every time that you go back, everything goes with you, and then you feel like you need to extend the legs and vibrate. But anyway, it was amazing because I forgot all this, and I said, "Oh, this is a gift." I forgot. I forgot about
the dentist chair is such a relaxing thing.
Oh, very, very wonderful. Very wonderful.
Except for when they start doing stuff in your mouth, but
well,
you're really tired. It's very comfortable.
Why don't
That's me. I'm trying to get off.
Police is coming to get us.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good. Everything works perfect. The next thing,
you've got three of you on here.
Oh, lovely, darling. That's great. Doesn't matter. It's all
That's all right. I muted her.
I wanted to tell you also.
When she gets it all figured out, then she can unmute herself. Okay.
Yeah. Now she has two versions of herself.
Yes, yeah, three versions
with her name. It's
Once she close, if you close your iPhone, Beverly, then we'll get rid of that echo. Anyway,
so
all right.
anyway,
So, Christine.
I just wanted to tell you that many, many gifts, because at the same time that I'm not having too much time to be inside of the entire unit, the entire consciousness, all the work that we have done. At nighttime, I mean, taking inside of it, and then I see all the work, all the principles, the connections, everything again, like the whole design that we have done, and it was so lovely to see it, in its splendor, all inside of it. So it's wonderful that the consciousness keep blessing me, because sometimes we attending what we attending in the moment, So, but then the whole consciousness arrive back into its splendor, and the vision of the consciousness in the new world, seeing that the mind can have a full spectrum of its unity and its beauty and its existence inside of the new world, is a wonderful thing, because then the mind can let it go of many stories that maybe in the mind and we don't even know they are there. And when we open to the new, then all things that there were sort of stories can begin to dissolve themselves into the present moment. And then the senses become more alive, because they are not occupying the brain inside of stories that no longer are pertinent in the new world. So it's just so beautiful that I'm so honored that that happened, and all the work that we have done and so forth. And here we are. It's just divine. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. And what else? That's it, more or less. Just if there's anything that you would like to really have any questions, or anything that you would like me to talk today, or we just go to whatever happens, we are all open to everything.
Well, you were so excited yesterday when you sent out the texts and everything, and just talking about the connections with the new consciousness, and I love that, and I think it would be beautiful if you were talking even more about how you're connecting in all of that.
With the new consciousness, I think eventually what it happens that I'm getting very, very naturally inside of the field of consciousness, that is the atomic nature of the new world and creation. So it's a place that I can really hang on, or hang out, or just suspend myself. It's difficult to have any physical sort of a metaphor, because even though it is physical, it is so much suspension in it, and there's so much comfort, and so much infinite connection to it, and it's so pleasurable that it's a lot. But nevertheless, I'm getting more and more sort of acquainted with that is coming, because the new consciousness is appearing more and more and more every day, because we are all becoming more connected to it, and the more connection, it augments its state of existence. And the way that we become more interconnected through our senses about what that is for each of us. So for each of us, sometimes it's just comfort, sometimes be pleasure, sometimes be ecstasy, sometimes it's futuristic, because we have glances of the beauty that our humanity conceals within our own sense of self, now that we are back in creation, or that we are in creation instead of being in observance, or witnessing, or searching, or hanging out without that knowing. It's a very wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think that whole idea of creation is really powerful. So you wrote on Sunday, the perfect and all-powerful spirit that is worshipped as the one who created and ruled the universe, now called the divine.
Called the divine, yes. And I wanted to expand it a little bit, because we have many names for everything, but each name has its own individual existence inside of the whole. And the supreme, originally we said that there is a supreme intelligence that is the mind of God. Remember that I was telling you that we have three forms of intelligence that we are becoming acquainted, and the three of them and the unity becomes the definition of the divine. So that it is the intelligence that is our human intelligence, and then the universal intelligence, which is our connection to all the rest, and then the supreme intelligence, that is the mind of God, and the three have coalesced into one. And the oneness of the three is really actually ourselves, meeting again the moment of existence, as I say, no longer from the perspective of the recycle of consciousness, but the renewal of consciousness, which is actually the renewal of the memory of our sense of self becoming present for the first time in eternal time. Not in temporal time, trying to figure it out what the whole thing is about, but in eternal time. So it is our eternal selves surfacing to the moment of existence. So it's very, very beautiful. And I wanted to clarify the name the divine, because remember that we said that when the new consciousness crystallizes itself into the renewal, the spirit of life that always existed within the memory of our surge and evolutionary mind, the spirit became the divine. And the divine always existed also as a metaphor through many, many, many religions and philosophies and many, many stories within an ancientness of our human self. But the divine now became almost like the embodiment of God, because God doesn't exist as a thought that we used to have in the evolution. It's not an entity like, as I said, that is a human form. The only human form of God is really us, and then God is all there is. And it is omnipresent. It doesn't have any behavioral either good or bad, or giving or not giving, or creating any kind of dualistic relationship to us. So for the first time, we are in the presence of God as it shows up inside of our own sense of self, becoming more connected to our sense of self, that then becomes our experience of God. So it's not an external connection within our minds, within our hearts, or within our physical self, but it's really who we are. And it's new for us because, as I said to you, in the past, when we were inside of the mind of time, it was almost sacrilegious, the idea that each of us can really think about that we are God. So then this is the time that the only way that we can 100% worship God, if you put it that way, is to be ourselves, because we are the 100% of what God, as a metaphor, as a feeling, as an experience is. It's not an external vision or thought or feeling or creation of the mind to senses itself protected or whatever. It is the existence of the reality itself, which is God in that sense. So anyway, the divine, it is when I begin to comprehend the notion of the divine, I begin to comprehend the reality of the Holy Spirit within the Catholic Church. Remember that I was told you that I was born inside of the Christian tradition. So then, through many years when I was a child, I loved to go to church and do all the things in church, because it was the most expanded vision that I have of being human. The cathedral and the lights and the music and the incense and the priest, and then the reading all the books through the time that I was ill, of all the Catholic books that they were created for the priest. So I was sort of indoctrinated in some degree, not naturally, into the goodness of what the church represented. Because in the reality, the faith itself is really goodness. It's the love yourself as neighbor as you love yourself. God is love. All those things that they were very beautiful. that they were in counterbalance with our physical experience, because my family, even though they were very religious, they were all behaving like human as well. So in one moment you go to church and everybody is saintly, but then you go home and everybody's fighting, you know, and doing things that they were crazy. So it didn't make any sense for me as a young kid, because I couldn't understand how you can have that duplicity, especially if I love that sort of a pageantry of the kingdom notion of the church. So anyway, the way and the moment in which the consciousness became united, the Trinity, as I said to you, it became united in myself, not as a concept, but I understood completely what the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit meant, because for the first time I was inside of the new consciousness, instead of trying to look at it with the mind of time, trying to make sense of three entities and very involved in different interpretations of religion. So it was a fantastic experience for me to be inside. And I understood immediately that it was the notion of three dimensions, that the Father represents nothing other than the whole existence of God, and the Son will be the one that brought the creation or the experience or the design into the physical world. And then the Spirit the Holy Spirit was the one that created the union between the three, as being the three-dimensional nature in which our consciousness was created in existence. Remember that we are three-dimensional beings. The whole universe that we live in, three-dimensional beings. But when I understood all that, it became wonderful, because I did it in some way. It's not that I needed to go back to the church or doing any of those things, because the whole Trinity part became nothing other than the makeup of my own existence. So again, I was taken away from the worship idea and put it inside of the reality that the Trinity is nothing other than the three senses of myself. You know, thought, feeling, and action. You know, the intelligence of mind, which is the supreme intelligence that is God. The intelligence of feelings, which is our natural human caring, loving for every single human being. That's the nature of human, really. And then the physical existence, for the first time, that I get to be in reality instead of being in the world of mirrors, trying to figure it out what the whole thing was about. So that's the Holy Spirit then inside of my mind became perceived as the divine. And you remember, I think I told you, so if something comes to your mind, just tell me and ask me, because I would like to clarify it. So the divine, I told you in the beginning, a couple of years, I don't know how long ago, that it was like the universal Siri. And because we now have a metaphor for Siri, right? Siri being whoever you ask the question, almost instantaneously comes with an answer. And the instantaneous nature of the answer of Siri, it blows our mind, because it doesn't have time to trying to figure out what it's going to say. It is all existing already inside of the field that we call the presence of all things. So it doesn't operate in time as a sequence to make thought. It is the existence of the consciousness itself. Even though in the regular world, excuse me for the word, in the world that we're coming from, sometimes the questions are very said, okay, what should I cook tonight? Do I feel great? How can I do this? You know, or now the whole idea that you're going to create movies to do something that is wicked or something like that, it doesn't exist in the real world that I'm telling you about, the divine. You know, so the divine became a metaphoric understanding that each of us are individually expressions of the one, of the whole. But each of us carry many, 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 many memories within our DNA of the entire history of human. So each of us came into this planet to be present now in the totality of the field, but also to become free, if the moment calls or our spirit calls, from many stories that we may have carried within the time thousands and thousands of years of becoming human inside of the recycle of the design called human, historics, and whatever degree we feel that produced emotional dilemmas or emotional complexities or physical forms in which our body has suffered through times. Because remember that when we came into the planet, through the many times as humans, sometimes we lasted for a few minutes, sometimes for a few years. There were not things to keep us alive for a long time. So, and then some of us came with memories of many things, like Mozart already came with the entire music of everything. And many of us came with those memories, but some of us came into an enormous mixture of memories that now, if we would like it to be, we can become free from it, because who we are is not a memory, is really actually a renewal of our human sense of self. So this is a very important thing, because the renewal of our human sense of self is really cosmic in its nature. Because remember that for so long, thousands of years, we've been going in the same inner circle of consciousness, recreating ourselves as ancient beings, trying to figure it out when we are going to come back to the surface again, so that we can match again the nature of our being and recover the totality of the divine nature of our mind, our heart, which is a vibrational perception of love, and our physical existence, to be able to partake of what we call ecstasy, the ecstasy in which the universe lives inside of its exquisite design of consciousness or form, whatever we want to call it. So the divine, through the time that I was trying to make sense, because I wanted to make clear in my consciousness, as I was finding the new consciousness inside of myself, that I didn't create another personality outside of myself to then worship something else. Then again, it put me in the same story, disguised in another form. So I understood that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to teach or express or create another way of covering the totality of who we are when something external. So then it became clear that I am the divine. But the divine is a wonderful metaphor for myself to really have it as myself, because it conceals within itself the entire memory of a universal existence. So I have to stop here for a moment, okay? Remember that we said that when the consciousness came into being, all past, all future, and the present now became one, the nature of 3 dimensions, yeah? So all future inside of that reality implies the totality of the voyage of our human universal self that already has been lived. Is a memory inside of our DNA already. We will experience it as we unfold more and more inside of that consciousness, but we will experience as the revealing memory of ourselves that then may call universal or cosmic or eternal, whatever name we wanted to give it, but it's all already existing inside of the whole design of unity. There is unity in motion, already. So we are no longer the personality that I used to be, but I am the totality of Cristiam. It's a lot because, I have no way to invent it. I can't invent Cristiam. It is who I am and who will appear to be in time, in which I'll recognize it as it appears, but I will always know that it is the natural unfolding of my natural self, remembering and making real something that have already occurred. The totality of the universal voyage in which we are all involved. And as that becomes more and more and more clear in my own self, the cosmic voyage become a perfect expression of the union of human existence, of beauty, of nature, of form, of light, of stars, all the exquisite memories and feelings that we got it in evolution as thoughts are really ever present inside of a whole field that it was created for us. If you want to put it by the name of God, you said created by God, in order for us to experience ourselves as being one with the light, one with God, one with the Spirit, one with the divine. So the divine is a lovely metaphor for me because it has the entire memory of myself that, and the beauty about it, that the divine never will give me something that will confuse me. Another form of said, I will never give to myself from the totality of the whole voice something that will make my present sense of self a little bit uneasy or confused or produce any form of stress. Because the function of the divine is to be able to guide you as the whole picture of yourself, to give you constantly understanding, feeling, and experience that correspond to yourself. They will never create any uneasiness with you. Never. It will not be like taking a drug and all of a sudden remember that you have 3 heads or that you are in another place, in which is, all those things will disappear because it will be perfectly measured for your own natural unfolding inside of the natural perfection of what you call yourself.
But isn't that why we do the movements to come into that balance that allows?
Yes, that's what you do. Well, the movements, the practice of the movement originally was intended without having something that I created in my mind. I saw right away that it was a way to reorganize the system, the physiology, to the point that the neurological system, the skeletal system, which is the physical nature of ourselves, and the mental systems began to become united as one. And then the degree, and whatever degree that unity and the practice took place, it dissolved the mind from associations. They were just only memories and the DNA. They were not real in our nature. They were just, we have lived it, we have experienced it, but they were not real in the natural sense of what we call our natural sense of self. The essence of what each one is. So I understood that was the case. So the practice, it will dissolve the person from the idea of me as a separation, but not as a philosophical idea. Hi, darling. Hi, darling. This is Carolina. I've arrived with Sherry. They're in the picture. Lovely to see you, darling. Can you hear us? I don't know if you can hear us. So she'll figure it out. So anyway, it will be the divine became is a very important aspect of the entire, because it occupies the image or the idea or the thought or the projection or the memory or the naming of what we used to call God or think of God is, but directed directly for us inside of ourselves to reveal anything within ourselves that we would like to be aware, connected, or know about your futuristic self. So it's what you want. It's not going to happen a superimposition into your consciousness, the divine. Always will be a natural unfolding of your own making, because in the entire, Danny. No, it's all right. I think it's lovely, darling. I'm glad.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just said something to Sherry and I realized I can't do that.
Yeah, because I don't know. We hear every. No, I don't know. I have no idea what happened. But in that sense, and each of us can hear yourself. But anyway, I wanted to clarify this this notion of the divine, because it's important, because in the degree as we become more and more united within the field of consciousness, and we can say the divine is the one in the field of consciousness that is in charge to assist every single human being living in the planet in this moment to be able to get what they need and want through their own desire. So because everybody has different desires inside of the reason why they came here. But as the desires begins to be fulfilled, then you discover that maybe that's not one the desire that you came here for. That actually the ultimate desire that you came here, maybe, if it decided, it was really to know the essential nature of your being, which will be the same to really know that you are one with God. If that's what you decided, you know what I mean? And so other people will be, I would like to be one with nature, or I would like to see my children grow and become wonderful. I would like to become the greatest composer in the world that celebrates the music of the spheres. For thousands and thousands and thousands of possibilities, but they were all related to what you want. Because now you are autonomous in your desires. Desire is not the word. You are autonomous in your wishes to uncover within you whatever you would like it to be. And then if you decided to uncover nothing, that will be grounded as well, because you will be in the nature of everything. And then, you know, you don't have to. You no longer have to create something that you want in order to sense that you got it. Yes, you no longer have to create something that you want in order to sense that you got it, because you already have it. So
I love the idea that you no longer are in that samsara. You're no longer in the hoping for something the next time. You know,
yes,
each you know. So you are whole. That's it. You are whole.
exactly. And then what happened that some of us, I mean, for me, when I began to recognize that that was occurring, the way that I sensed it, oh, I just want to rest for a few years. I just don't want to do anything. I just wanted to be completely, you know,
Yeah.
free from anything that I have to do, or anything that I have to be, or anything that I must do, or whatever. And then I began to recognize what relaxation meant. It was nothing other than opening to my being, and then be at peace, as I said, without any urgencies. And then life arranges itself when it happens that I could really just relax, so to speak, because they gave me enough money to be able to live or pay the rent or whatever in my frugal state of being, and then have the time, because ultimately time was the only gift that has been given to me when I entered this life. Because life is time, the traveling of time inside of the seamless movement that is eternal. But when we are not,
I like the idea of that three-dimensional consciousness.
yes,
I think, I mean, if the three and the one are the same, then that's the fourth dimension, and we're creating is the new consciousness a fourth dimension?
yes, in reality, because you see what happens is, and when we were in the dream time a little bit, because I don't want to sound like judgmental in it, when we went searching inside of evolution, time became the point of reference from which we senses ourselves, all in different interpretations of what that was. But we always stop time in order to be able to perceive it, think about it, create an image, and so forth. We were not living in time as an eternal existence of unity. We will only be living in time as a relative interpretation of our human self. So time then, it was the three-dimensional reality that was constantly stopped in order to make sense, even though we were never inside of three dimensions. But that was it. So the fourth dimension was nothing other than entering time and for the first time be three-dimensional instead of the totality of the field of three dimensions. Because the totality of the field of three dimensions is the motion of life, in which the instant of three dimensions is the way that we are becoming physical every single moment, but also the way that we are renewing every single moment inside of an eternal existence that you could call it fourth dimension, if you really want to put it that way. Yeah. And then, so 3 dimensions is a sphere. You can say a sphere.
Mhm.
Sphere would be 3 dimensions, you know. It's an analogy of the 6 directions of space and everything that the mind can create to understand the notion that we're constantly blessed by a sphere, the sphere of 3 dimensions. But then what we didn't know is this sphere is constantly moving, constantly moving. And then we are the motion of the sphere.
Oh, wow.
We are not the observers of the motion of the sphere. We are the motion of the sphere. So that became the fulfillment of 3 dimensions, because 3 dimension was never created as a static form of awareness. It was always existing as the union with everything that exists. And the union with everything that exists is the 4th dimension, because it's constantly perceived, experience, feel, and make sense through ourselves through what we call life. So life was the gift from which all came into this planet to rediscover what the meaning of life was or is. And inside of that, to rediscover what was the purpose of our existence, existing in this world now. So we could, if you choose so, to be able to understand our maker and to be able to have contact with the totality of the essence that is our humanity. Because remember, we were created in the image and the likeness of God. That's what we said. So what that means is that each of us is the same as God. It couldn't be we were created in the image and the likeness and God will be here and I will be here. Yeah, that would be the 2-dimensional awareness, right? Could not be that. That's what we did in evolution. In the reality, we are that creation itself. So we are recovering the natural imprint that it got created when the design come human came as an idea, or whatever you wanted to call it, as an existence to exist. And now the design come human for the first time, since we are the one with creator, the one with the designer, and the one with the atomic nature, we are creating a new world, which is called the new world. When I use the word creator, kind of a little bit complex, because it's that I'm creating the world, you know what I mean? No, the creating of the world is simultaneous with the field of creation in which I always existed. And for the first time, I'm aware that I exist inside of that field.
So Cristiam, question.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So like you, I've been going through everything that seems to happen when you're in your 80s. You think maybe I better go through everything. And I'm coming across, this beautiful stack of books of yours, and so reading through them, an old statement, and I don't know the date of this, was simply you telling us and I may not have this perfectly, we are all individuated versions of God.
Yes.
But that's what you've been saying all day today, but something is new here.
Yes.
Your concept of the divine. So
yes.
It's like we could almost get rid of the word God because
I think
big enough. So there's something very new from that line that you had in one of the books years ago. So that's what you're explaining today.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify it. I mean, I explained it, but in order to clarify it, that we don't create another image of the divine that occupies something that is outside of ourselves.
Right.
That there will be a moment in our unfolding, naturally so, that you will know that you are the divine.
I think that's the difference. I think we've all known that there's nothing outside of ourselves.
Yes.
Because we've been doing this for years.
Yes.
But now, instead of knowing it, that's all, an intellectual kind of concept. We just are infinitely more it.
Exactly. Infinite more it.
Yeah, I would like to say totally it. Let me give you an example of something happened. I don't know which talk it was. It wasn't the last talk. I missed one, then another one. So say 3 talks back. And I wrote a very excited exclamatory little note about how wonderful it was and how I felt, blah, blah.
Yes.
And then, it all went away. So,
Well, yes and no, because you're recollecting it right now. I mean, in some way, it is part of you. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, but a much more expanded state that I got from listening to you. It's almost like, if I can use a word, because I use it in, my energy medicine kind of thing, is the word frequency.
Yes.
It's almost like listening to you, just the frequency goes up, 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 up.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. And the frequency eventually becomes the field.
Yeah.
The whole field. Okay.
Yeah. I think of all frequencies, low and high, being in the field, no? Just
Yeah. But I mean, we remember that we are the only beings in creation. No, I wouldn't say that because that could be a judgment, but let's say, put it this way, that we as humans are the ones that can become conscious of being conscious.
Yeah.
Yes. So what that means is that everything else lives its nature. We as humans were created to become to be conscious of being conscious. And therefore, in this particular moment, for example, in the history of mankind, to create a new world that embraces the whole of humanity inside of a new perspective of being human, and in which every single being in the planet is blessed by being in the presence of the magic of life. Consciously, okay? Consciously. Because what conscious does, the reason that I wear the word conscious is when we become conscious of that which we are inside of a circle. And then the experience of that isness is what explodes inside of ourselves. It's like a mirror, you have the mirror and you have yourself, and you become conscious of the image in the mirror. But instead of being diverted about how you look like, blah, 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 you are also in the middle between the image and the mirror. And then you get to experience the totality of the knowing, the feeling, and the being of what that is. So we are conscious of being conscious.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, but it's very simple because originally we were that. But the entire voyage of our human existence was to become conscious of being the presence of that which we worship, which is God itself, and then live the reality that we are 100% benign, we are 100% love, we are 100% creation, and the nature is an extraordinary field that is constantly through our senses coming to show us how everything is magical, beautiful, synchronized, made for us to be able to experience that, and therefore grace the whole world through this particular awareness and feeling. We are gracing the whole world. Yeah. Everything of this conversation that we have right now is changing everybody on the planet in this instant. Not that they're going to have another thought or whatever, but it's transforming everything because we are doing it inside of the field. We are not doing it two-dimensional. Yes. It's not saying, oh, I wish the world is going to do blah, blah, blah. Because if I do that, it's all right. It's a beautiful feeling, but I don't understand that I am inside of the completion of this voyage, and then my essence is changing everything already. And therefore, the whole world is blessed by the nature of living consciously inside of the field of consciousness that we call love. So anyway, so I don't want to stop you, Isabel. I don't know if you wanted to continue saying that you're trying to, we're talking about an example or how to use it. And I don't know, just I'll bring it back. There is anything more that you would like to say about your, what?
Well, no, because then I get, you've taught me enough that I know I can slide into dualistic thinking very quickly and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
language of.
yeah,
So I think what I was experiencing that time, but that I call this high frequency for fun, that.
yeah, 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 yeah. The frequency of your
And
soul.
so sliding back into dualism, you don't want it to go away. That's the little,
Oh,
that's
well,
silly.
but it,
And Nancy would say, I don't mean Nancy, well, Nancy would say, and Ellen would say, well, stand there in 0 point and do 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 unity in motion. But I just was the contrast between this enormous excitement and feeling that lasted after that talk.
yes,
That's why I said I love your talks.
yes.
So like you said, it's changing the world,
It's changing the world.
and it certainly changes us as we be part of this.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So
Inside being here.
um,
But the little kid in me wants it that way all the time. And that's all I have to
oh,
say.
absolutely. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's a great desire because that's your nature. But I would like to clarify, if it's possible, that if for any one moment you think that you enter the realms of duality, not to make yourself in any form that something is wrong, you will notice it that the reason that happened because you're innocently enter a mind that has a story inside of its own awareness and is constantly battling, itself inside of the same field. So it's not that you enter that field that is battling itself, it's that you are the center of the field that already is resolved and is the solution of the field. So you no longer are involved in the endless and the very big innocent dualistic not what it would be conversation, but you are the center of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you an example, just to get at, go back to this, I'm going to go back to the world of 2 dimensions to give you an example right now.
Yeah.
The biggest conversation right now that happening in the planet is that every single human being should be able to have health insurance, or everybody should be for themselves. In order not to really, nobody else have to subsidize anybody else. So that's the longest conversation. And it has divided itself into the 2 sides of the spectrum that always existed inside of the consciousness and the history of consciousness, not where we are right now. But when you see somebody that is in TV, for example, and is the person who is directing the show, is constantly occupied about one side and the other one, and who will win, who will not win, how will come into being. And they are not yet necessarily saying, wait a minute, this is not about who's having it or not having it. It's that everyone in the planet has health and beauty and should be empowered, should be given everything that is needed to be able to feel completely present in the presence of life. So nobody goes there, because in that moment, then it becomes like a religious, or it becomes an idea, and they are not allowed to give their opinion. They're allowed only to keep facilitating the battle, the innocent battle that doesn't exist anymore. But when I see it, I laugh about it, because I said, you're silly. Why is it that you're doing this? We're already there. Just say it. Come on, just say it. Every single human being on the planet has the right, and already is, and is going to be taken care, because that's what we humans are. We are the essence of love. We are the essence of God. We are the essence of religion. We are the essence of art. We are the essence of everything that ever existed. And we are the ones who say everybody has it. So stop this conversation. Don't be silly. So I laugh when it happened. I don't judge myself because I entered the awareness, but I said, come on, let it go. It's silly, So I penetrate that moment, since they're having the conversation sort of in real time, you know, in real time in the moment at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't know, in California, everybody's going, I enter real time, which is an interpretation, but also in the infinite, and I said, relax, let it all go, come on, it's all perfect, it's all wonderful. Begin to have full permission to say what you feel instead of say what you think you have to say in order to keep alive the two sides of the spectrum, forever going yakate, 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 bypassing the very nature of the person who is trying to keep it all together. In this case, the person who is managing the program, or whatever you wanted to call it, the conversation.
Yes.
We cannot do it yet. It's very hard. Yeah? It's very hard to do it. You know what I mean? Because inside of the whole story, in the moment that you start talking in the language that we are, the perfection that we are, we enter the thoughts of religion. I mean, as a category, but not as a reality, because true religion is what I'm saying, that every single human being is a divine entity, and that we all love each other, is perfect, that the world, in the world, everybody will and is, and soon, or whenever the situation arises inside of the field, through the divine, if you want to put it that way, everyone will be instantaneously coming into the presence of what they need for themselves, because everybody else will give it as well. There will never be a human being on the planet who say, no, this person cannot have health assistance. Can you imagine that? Impossible. A human was created inside of the image and the likeness of beauty and love and feeling, and you will never wish for anybody else, nothing other than the perfection that you are and that you know that we are. So it's a different thing, because we, in the new consciousness, we don't have to create, okay, this is the new consciousness, and then it's all those things there, and we are like an isolated place in which we carry our own feeling and connection to life. No, the new consciousness occupies all possibilities and is constantly transforming them into the natural essence they already are. And you are the one, because you are the seer every moment in real time. Each of us is the one. And the seeing is what allows the field to be able to be what it is, because consciousness, it doesn't exist without the mind comprehend the nature of its existence. Nothing exists without each of us. I mean, the whole idea that things can exist, you know, if something falls in the tree, does it make a noise or not make a noise? That's not, no. We are everything. So anyway, this is what happened, that each of us are really, so anyway, the whole thing that I'm telling you is this: if you feel like you're coming back into the world of duality, no, because it's impossible. You never come back into the field of duality, because you're already inside of the field. And if you feel like that happened, you're repairing something. And then in the moment that you find out what it is that you're repairing, you are the master, changing that particular frequency or reflex in everyone, because they are not that. A human being is not a division between good and evil. That was the original story inside of the story that separates us from the garden, but it was never real. Evil doesn't exist, right? Evil is nothing other than the confusion gathered through time inside of the realms of separation from the source. But anybody who is inside of the world of evil, if there is such a thing, or a being, is not who they are. And their essence, they are God itself. So once you see it that way as well, they have 1,000 possibilities for becoming closer to that essence, because that's who they are. Nobody has any all that will disappear from the consciousness completely, because it never was real. Anyway, I hope I don't confusion by thinking that I needed to go to one. Yes, I mean, they say, oh my God, I forgot the hand was there. Okay, thank you, darling.
There we go.
It's complex.
Yeah, I'm using my hand. Oh, I also did something else. There we go. With you finally got to the point what I was going to say 10 minutes ago.
Oh,
but
yeah, I think that's feel free because I'm seeing everybody. So
it was about, we say consciousness or unconsciousness or this or that, but it's truly just about the feeling of love.
yes.
And once you have that feeling, that essence is you. That love is your essence.
Yes.
And as that expands, then everything else just melts away, and you can live in that excitement. But I go in and out, obviously, as a human might do. But Jane Goodall was the woman who worked with all the chimpanzees, and she was
Yes.
really doing a lot to save the environment and whatever. So because she passed away the 1st of October, there's been a lot of podcasts and things about her, right? So there was one on last night where a chimpanzee had lost his family and he was hurt and whatever. Well, they take him into a like a hospital for chimpanzees out in the country, whatever. And it was the first time they got blood transfusion from one chimpanzee to the other, right? So that was the beginning. So then the story goes on and on and on, and they save this chimp's life, and he's really strong. So they're releasing him out to the wild. And she goes with them, but she wasn't working with him all that time. But she goes with them, and at the very end, she's holding his hand in the boat ride, calming him and loving him and whatever. And that love just exuded, right? So at the very end, what happens is they open, let him release, and he turns and he hugs her. And the two of them hugging was the most uplifting, loving thing that you could ever see. And then he looked back, and then he just left and he went out to the wild, and it was just like we talk about humans, but he felt the love. It's like you could feel the love if you have a dog at home, or you can feel the love of children or whatever. But it's the basic essence of feeling the essence of love. So that's what when we were going back and forth with consciousness, unconsciousness, I kept getting confused. So I'm going to the basics.
No, absolutely. Yeah, man, absolutely, totally right. It's true.
And if you get to watch any of the stories about her on YouTube right now, they're absolutely, they're just heartwarming.
Oh, how beautiful. Thank you, Danny. Very, very beautiful.
She had the most apt last name, Goodall.
Yes.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Very, very, very lovely. Very lovely. Absolutely fantastic.
But thank
you. Just, that love is the union of the three senses.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. If I will keep telling you constantly, is that, of course, love is all there is, because there's the unity of the three senses. Yeah. So then, whenever our mind comprehends that love is love is love is love, it's very difficult that as you're going to go back to your head, it's going to rationalize the possibility of how you experience or you give love, right? It will disappear because you cannot measure love as something in any degree that is going to be shared. That's an expression of love that is better than none, but it's not the totality of what the love that we're using, that we're talking about. Yeah, the love that we're talking about is the isness of existence. It's the totality of everything, and I said it's the union of our mind because it comprehends that to be so. And when the mind comprehends that it is love for real, you will never be able to be outside of love. Impossible. Because the true intelligence of the mind is the love of love. The true intelligence of the mind is the love of love. And the true physical experience of reality is the sensation and the mind of love. It's a larger spectrum. But where to use larger is complex because then our mind trying to figure it out. Where are we in that range? But not, you already understand the love is all there is, and all there is love. And if you get out of it for a second, you're going to get it right away that it's crazy because you broke the magical nature of the moment and you transform it into a sort of a conceptual interchange that is all filled up in thousands of difficulties, and the field has disappeared itself into something else that is not the field itself. So when we become aware of the field, being ever present in what it is, you won't spend a second. And if you become trapped in a second, it's okay, because humans have reflexes. We as humans have reflex. And the reflex is something that has happened and is beyond our conscious awareness. We act up the reflex. And then whenever we act up the reflex, we got into either a fight, a problem, or whatever it is. And then when we perceive it, I said, oh, no, I don't need to be here. Let it go. And then in the moment you let it go, the field appears again. Yeah. And whatever was difficulty becomes solution. Because if you are outside of the field, everything becomes difficulty because you are not inside of the solution. You are inside of the problem. So then inside of the problem, it'll take your time. But the time that it takes you to resolve the problem, this is not to make difficult to you, it's a stress to your being. It's stress to the field, it's stress to everything. But you can use it as a learning device. And then I say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. If I catch myself doing something that is a reflex and I'm creating havoc, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to say, no, I'm right and you're wrong and blah, 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 forever, because it's all a waste of time. Why would you spend 1 second outside of lava? So, and that's wonderful, because then if it happens, all you have to do is to open the field. And then if you want to do it more personally, go and hug the person and I said, hey, I love you. It is important to understand that we love each other. And then, what do you want to eat for dinner? Would you like me to make blah, 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 whatever, because the field, the senses changes. And then you're in the present moment and you say, oh, here we are. So anyway, but that's what it is. Humans are releasing many, let's say we, because I'm human myself, of course. We as humans are releasing many different reflexes that we thought they were part of our personality. And those reflexes covered our personality. They are not part of our personality. The personality, it was a little bit like a nightmare inside of it, because it associated itself with certain ideas that they were never real. The only real ideal is that if you enter the field of love, the moment becomes real, you get to travel with existence, and then the atomic moment, it will give you whatever it is. I don't know, because you can no longer think about it because it's happening, but whatever it's going to give you is going to be fantastic. I don't know, because I said we can create it as a projection. Atomic moment cannot be created as a projection. It can only be experienced inside of a field, and it will never be inside of a field of difficulty, because it's the solution of all things, because it exists in the realms of love. Yeah, but it's so anyway, well, yeah. It's good. I get a little bit like this, a little bit like that when I talk about that, because through the past, we created many ideas. You know what I mean? Like somebody said, okay, we don't have innocently, the mind, the all mind, we don't have a possibility yet that everybody can have what they need, or everybody can have insurance, or they cannot have insurance. But I'll pray. I have my prayers. You know what I mean? You can occupy the moment with the prayer. You can only occupy the moment with the solution. And you may not have to use the word, but it only takes a second. The prayer is a negation of your existence. Existence doesn't pray, it creates, and it creates perfection because it is perfection. So you're free from all that. If you catch yourself thinking about like that, no, that's it. So anyway, that's what's happening. It's beautiful. So returning, just I made it more complex, the explanation of the divine, or am I made it? It's difficult to talk about it, but it has to be erased. I would like to keep it clear because I would like to make sure that I'm not creating something else superimposed upon the field.
Cristiam, I think you've been more than clear.
Yeah.
And I think that you've been more clear than I've ever heard you. And each time you do these talks, it becomes more and more clear.
Oh, becoming more and more clear. Thank you. Thank you. I feel it that way because what happens is that I'm more myself. I'm erasing the ancient nature of my mind, trying to justify, take care, understand, remember in Unity in Motion, we have something called the great perspective. Remember? And the great perspective is not that you understand all things past. That's a part of the great perspective. But you already see them, the great perspective, from the solution, not from the vision of what that part was. So I'm becoming free from that part of the great perspective that want to understand things, how they became into being, because it's part of my being as well. But I am the solution that as well. So I'm resolving the great perspective into the great celebration. So the perspective doesn't become a vision of things past. Yeah, the great celebration. Yeah, that's the reason. Everything is transforming itself into a celebration because it's no longer transforming itself into a conceptual understanding that may disconnect you from the atomic moment that each of us is. Yeah. Atomic moment is fantastic. So anyway, the atomic moment is becoming more present. So I'm becoming more present. And also, the presence that I am is say, okay, you got to be careful about this one. Do not be careful. I shouldn't be clear about what you're saying, because remember that the secret of magic is the world is made of words, and if you know what the words are, if you know the words that the world was created, you can make it whatever you want. This is the entire history of each of us. In the beginning, remember the word? So it's wonderful because now the word is no longer an idea. It's really the essence of its own form, and it will not let me get out of it into something that is not, because the word is already present. We are in the word. We are creating ourselves by every single word that comes out of, it was said in the past, that comes out of the mouth of God. That was the idea. I don't remember what it was saying, but we are creating ourselves every single moment by the word that comes out of our mouth, of every word that we create. And I said to you last time, once we become aware of that, it's fantastic, because you will never create something that will express something that you are not, because you are becoming what you are creating. And why will you become something that less than what it is? It will be crazy. It will be silly, because then the telephone call and somebody's called you and I said, you lost your password, and you have to find it and go back there. The whole thing will become like, oh my God, something is going on now. It's all crazy because you're innocent.
I think Cristiam, is what's really exciting is that it's no longer, you're not just having a conversation with yourself. We're actually like here.
Yes.
We understand. We're consciously connected.
Yes.
With what you're saying.
Yes.
But like I said, you're clearer than you've ever been. Well, it's only because I am clear.
Of course, everyone, that's what it is. Each of you, we all will doing it together. Each of you, as you becoming, in whatever degree more clear, I am becoming more clear. The world is becoming more clear. The person who is discussing the nature between health and no health is becoming more clear. The people who are having the conversation are going, oh my God, what am I saying? You know, and then and they will come into appeasement in themselves that they are all of a sudden enter the world of religion, and the ambulances come and take them in the madhouse. See, you must say that. Yeah, well, you know, because there are certain in the world that we're coming from, it always was an arrangement to really trying to figure it out, that you don't enter any kinds of problems. So when you have that mind, you're always in a problem, because you're always creating something that you think is helping you, but in reality is making it more complex. So
Right.
it becomes more complex.
Right.
So many innocently, we were afraid of saying what it is, because it will be misconstrued, and then you enter something that is terrible. But it's not true. When you're saying what it is, everything rejoices. We are happy. And you are great. Yeah, Carolina, go ahead. Darling, the sound is going.
Just have
You
to
put the
unmute
sound.
yourself, Carol.
No sound.
Carol, you have to unmute yourself.
I love it. Just sometimes we forget it.
There you go. Well, what I'm thinking when you're saying that is when we really stop to think about our lives and what we're doing, it's like so crazy that we would project onto the future a possibility of something we don't want. You know, so we have ingrained in our mind, well, this could happen, we should prepare for this, we should prepare. And it's crazy. And we haven't known how crazy that really is, because we haven't realized that we're actually creating that thing.
Yes.
We think we're protecting ourselves, but we're creating the very thing that we don't want.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
And so when for myself, if I am not allowed to, in my own mind, to project anything out there that might happen that I don't want.
Exactly.
I don't allow myself to do that.
Absolutely.
So you know, then we're in the new world, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because remember that in the old world, we always use the word realistic. Oh, come on, be real. You know, be realistic. You know, you can't be in the idea, for example, of, I don't know, utopia, the idea of utopia. You can never exist in utopia. So be realistic. This is the way the world it is. So we didn't know when we used that kind of reasoning that all that is a construction that separates us from the real experience of what we are. So that's the reason that we can never really use the word of our expression as projecting something in the future that we don't want it for ourselves. Impossible. So we are free from that. That's a big deal to erase that. I don't know what it was called. Remember, I think it was called a devil's advocate or something. Remember in the past, there was people who were very, very considered to be very wonderfully so, but very intellectual and very evolved in their mind, and can use their mind to show you how things cannot be if they were idealistic to be what I think it is, and that is always covered up with something that it could be or not be. So always leave the door open for something that it could be or not be, bypassing the instant that you were creating what it is. You're not creating the possibility that yes or no. So anyway, that's what we are. We are all in the new world. So returning to the divine, we understand that the divine is the divine assistant to every single human being to become naturally conscious, which is experience love, of that they are the creators not only of their own experience, but of the blessing of the world.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And everybody has everything.
Yay.
There is nobody that you say, no, you cannot have that. I know, just everything is given. You know what I mean? It's all wonderful. So anyway.
So Cristiam, I would like to, for those of you who don't know, our dear friend Sherry is visiting me from Canada. We've been friends since we were 18 years old. And
Nice.
Sherry knows most of you. She's been to Pittsburgh for a workshop and here very early on. So
It's more beautiful than ever.
She is more beautiful than ever, isn't it? I know. I know. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so lovely. We are becoming more beautiful all the time because we are becoming ourselves. And there's nothing more beautiful than yourself. It could never be impossible. You know, absolutely. So anyway, Darlene, I think, are we okay then? Are we good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody, yeah.
We'll get to see you in 2 weeks and whenever we go. And if you have any questions or anything, just text. You know, we are in constant communion with each other, or send it through the field. Just send me a text through the field.
That was a good
I
trip.
get it. Yeah. You know, eventually we will not even talk to each other. We have conversations about what we are creating inside of the field. But anyway, it's all divine. So I love you. It's so wonderful. Sherry, Berger, I adore you, of course. Carolina, everybody. Wonderful. Thank you.
Love you guys so
Thank you,
much.
thank you, thank you.
Love you
I love
guys.
you.
We are
Thank you,
a
Elena.
family.
Thank you, everybody. We love each other. Come on.
And I will send everybody a recording and there'll be AI notes for this one.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ellen.
Ciao, 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 ciao. Elena, I love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Goodbye.